First steps, election integrity. So this is, I think that's not going to figure out how to go forward on this. Okay, Board of Elections. Now, many of you who have been poll watchers know that your Board of Elections can be very helpful to you. You can go there, you can get voter registration list, you can get your candidate list, you can get your precinct, and you can cut it up into what we like to call turf and walk your precincts with your friends and family. I tell everyone, when you're going to go out there and do this, the first place you have to start is with your Board of Elections. And actually your Secretary of State's website. You know, I want you to be active, but we're not going to come out and bail you guys out, so you got to know your laws, okay? Know the state laws, seriously. I need a Moncrief talk? No, that's not going to work. So spend some time on your Secretary of State's website. If they have training classes or courses, take those courses online and familiarize yourself with state laws. I know in Texas you have to be a deputy registrar just to be able to register people to vote. And my state view, anybody, if you can breathe, you can get out there and register someone to vote. So just know your state laws. This thing is just going to keep messing with you guys. We're going to power on through it. I usually don't even use a PowerPoint, but I've learned it helps with, because I talk so fast, so you might catch something up there you don't catch right here. So we'll power through it. It'll come back up in a second. Alabama, Roll Tide. Had to throw that in. We had such a good year. While we're waiting, let's talk. Now, the people said that if there's an election worth stealing, someone will steal it. And the case in point would be one of the first elections that they stole, which was Kennedy versus Nixon. How many of you guys remember that? Every dead voter in Cook County came out and got Kennedy elected. And the funny thing about it is, there was a delay and that was doing all of this. You know, Delaney, whatever his name is, I can't think of the... Daley. And now there's a Daley in the White House. It's amazing how those things work when you think about how Mayor Daley got all those voters out for Kennedy. And Nixon knew the election had been stolen from him. But you know, it was unseemly at the time to go out and protest an election. You didn't want to win it that way. That's not how you won. So he didn't protest it. And he set a precedent that would go on for years. This is just to get around to where we are. Because this is a new presentation, so we're going to give you some facts here. So this is, when I talk about Kennedy versus Nixon, I let people know that because of what happened in that election 40 years ago, it said how Democrats would handle elections previously. Because when you look at the actors and the players and the people that are out there right now doing these things, these are the same ones that were coming up with the Bill Ayers and the Weather Underground and the SDS and the National Welfare Rights Organizations. They were coming up around this time. Wade Rathke, the founder of Acorn, he was working out of Little Rock, Arkansas in 1975 with Acorn. Who else came out of Little Rock, Arkansas around this same time? Bill Clinton. And we're going to have to get him to switch us over to that little thingy over there in a minute, but we're not going to worry about it because, like I said, it's all up here. So when you think about that, Bill Clinton came up. What was the first bill that he signed into law? Motor voter. Yes, the National Voter Registration Act of 1993. When Bill Clinton came to office, Acorn came in right behind them, and they gave him motor voter. If you ever look at the signing ceremony, there's a picture of Wade Rathke standing to one side of him, and Maud Hurd, president of Acorn, standing to the other side of Clinton. And you wonder, motor voter. That's not bad. You know, you get your driver's license, you get your voter registration. Seems all innocent, right? What they don't tell you about is Section 7 of the National Voter Registration Act. How many of you guys know about Section 7? Section 7 says that these states are required by federal law to register people in public assistance agencies across the country. Now, imagine us having a federal law that says we are required to register everyone that comes in and wants a gun license or a gun permit in every state across the country. They would lose their mind. They were targeting their demographic, and they knew exactly how to do it. So if these states were not in compliance with that, they got sued. And think about it this way. We're not talking about saying, are you a citizen, are you eligible to vote? No, they weren't allowed to ask if they were citizens of the United States. They had to offer them a voter registration application. They would do it at the beginning of the process. So you have people that are not citizens of this country that are applying for food stamps and other welfare, and they're scared because they don't understand the language, and they're being offered these cards, and every single time they apply and every single person that they contacted had to offer them a card. So every time they did it, they thought, oh, if I don't fill this out, I'm not going to get my food stamps. So they were filling out all these voter registration cards across the country. And the voter rolls became inflated because of it. That was the biggest problem in the 90s, is that we had all of these ineligible people on the rolls because they were coming out of public assistance offices across the country. And if one person in the process out of 10 didn't offer them an application, the states were sued by Acorn's voter registration arm, Project Vote. You guys familiar with Project Vote, Obama's old employer? Yes, Project Vote has been suing states around the country under Section 7 of the NVRA since 1995. The last lawsuit was about 2 months ago. Their Freedom of Information Act requests have proved that the Department of Justice is working in collusion with Project Vote and Acorn on these lawsuits across the country. So what this means is that yes.
When you say public assistance offices, is that any kind of government office?
Any type of food stamps, welfare, TANF, temporary emergency assistance.
Department of Human Services for children?
Yes.
Anything like that?
Yes. And then let me tell you what they're doing. How many of you guys have heard of Obama's massive machine, the Voter Activation Network? The Voter Activation Network is housed in Chicago, Illinois. It is how they won the election. It is a massive database that is fed by demographic information to ensure micro-targeting down to the house. And inside the house, it can probably target down to whether you dress left or right. That's how massive this is. So as they're suing these states across the country, they're asking for information. They're asking for full driver's license records, full DMV records, full Health and Human Services records. They're asking for all this information from your states. In Louisiana, they ask for the DMV records for everyone in the state, the Health and Human Services records for everyone in the state, and they require that it be turned over to the litigants, which meant that Acorn and Project Vote would get that information and could do anything they wanted to with it. That is the problem that we're having across the country, is that we're litigating away our electoral rights.